Hello, everyone. I'm so excited for this tonight, and it looks like everyone is here is excited too in the chat. So this is a live class. Today is March 22nd, and I am live from Nashville. We have some storms, and so we are ready to go though, and I'm so happy and excited that everybody is here. So be sure to participate in the chat because I can shout you out. If you are here, I can shout you out. I'll bring your questions up and we're just going to have a good time. So if anyone who knows me, you know that I have a mantra. And so I want wherever you are in your home, I want you to shout out this mantra. I want you to repeat after me. All right. I am happy. I am healthy. And I am wealthy, right? Come on now. I am happy, healthy, and wealthy. That is our mantra at the Achieve Her. And I kind of own that word, right? I own the trademark to it. And I've been using that word for years. My book is The Unlikely Achieve Her because I want men and women to achieve. And so I'm glad there are some men here, there's some women here, and we are ready to get started with our presentation. Hey, Russell, thanks for chiming in. We've got Karen from Memphis. All right. So I'm going to pull up my presentation now so that we can jump right into the material. Okay. So just give me a thumbs up just to show me that you can see my slides there. Awesome. Okay, good. All right, let's see if that's better. We'll go with this one. You can see this better. All right, good. I've got your comments. Yes, everybody's here. So, how are we going to retire in 10 years or less? Because I did this and I don't know. I mean, I thought surely this is a miracle, but no, it is a very repeatable process. And so, I'm going to teach you that tonight. So, who am I? Just brief introduction because I want you to know that you can do this too. There is nothing that spectacular about me or how I was raised. I wasn't raised with money. As you can see, that's my mom there. She had the most fantastic afro, isn't it? And I there had no hair. Fun fact, I didn't have any hair until I was 3 years old. No hair, bald. But at any rate, my mom had me when she was just 17 years old. And we grew up in a very humbling environment. All right. We did not have much, but we had each other and we had love. And so I started working really young. I started working at 14 years old to help support myself. But could you believe it that even after that upbringing, being a first generation college student, today I am financially free and I fired, which is financially independent, retired early at 41 years old. So basically, I quit working my full time job last year in May of 2021. I can't even believe it's been almost a year now that I have not worked full time. And I'll tell you, I highly recommend it. I highly recommend that you become financially independent and do the things you love. If you love your job, I really did love being a teacher. So that's why I do these classes because I still love teaching. So even if you love your job, financial independence really still is for you because you just never know what happens. And I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you. So, a little bit more about me. I am a mom. I am in a significant relationship. And I am a world traveler. And I try to travel at least once a month. And when I quit working full time, I had accumulated $850,000 in my investment portfolio. So, that's what I'm going to talk to you about tonight. So, I think we've already established this. But just to be clear, would you listening and watching, like to be healthier, wealthier, and happier? Would you? Type it in the chat if you would like to be healthier, wealthier, and happier. So I see some yeses starting to come through and some thumbs up. Well, guess what? That means that you, my friend, also want to be financially independent and retire early, or you can replace the R with whatever you want to. I've heard people say relax early. You don't have to retire. Um, you could argue that I'm not retired because I'm sitting here having this conversation with you, and I do coach women. I have a program that I coach men and women through. So, but that's such a part-time thing, and it really honestly comes from a love, from wanting to do it. But whatever that is that you are interested in doing with your life, let's make it happen. All right, good, awesome. Okay, so where was I before my journey started? Before I had this $850,000 laying around? Well, number one, I was very embarrassed about my financial situation because I grew up so poor, and I went to college. I achieved my bachelor's and master's and PhD, and I was still living paycheck to paycheck, and I just couldn't understand why in the world was I still living paycheck to paycheck when I was making such a great salary? And I didn't understand it. Well, I also realized now, looking back, that I didn't know anything about the stock market. And I knew that the stock market made millionaires, but I didn't know anything about it. I also felt very alone when it comes to finances, and I didn't talk with others about it. So even when I was married, we talked about our finances back then, but it still was something we didn't talk about a lot. And of course, it's just very taboo. You don't talk about it on the workplace. And so if you can relate to that, I'd love to hear it. But I just really didn't have anyone to just talk to about wealth building. So, um, eventually I decided that I had to do something about it. Unfortunately, I went through a divorce in 2017, and my all the walls just came tumbling down because again, I couldn't believe it that after everything I had gone through growing up and going to college and being financially insecure for so long, and then becoming financially secure with a job, I couldn't believe the situation I was in. So then once I got divorced, it was even worse because then I had this one income, I had the two children, and I just I was just at a loss. I was at a complete loss. And so I decided that I had to sell the house that we were living in. I sold the house, made about $35,000 proceeds from the sale of the house. And I started Googling what to do with a lump sum of money because I honestly did not know. I didn't know what to do with it. And so I had been paying off my student loans. So I paid those off. I knew I had only been contributing up to the match at work. So I thought, well, am I supposed to increase that? I really honestly didn't know. So I started Google searching. I Google searched what to do with a lump sum of money, what to do with $30,000, just these random questions. And I stumbled upon the concept of FIRE. So when I stumbled upon the concept of FIRE, that's when I learned, okay, there is another path to life instead of just working every day, spending majority of the money. And so I said, okay, this is my key to stop worrying about money. Have you worried about money at some point in your life? If you can relate to worrying about money, let me hear it in the chat. I want to know what that you worry the most about. And because I think this is important because when we get into this material about how to do it, I don't want you to have excuses because that typically is the first thing people say to me is, oh, well, you did it because you were a professor and professors make great money. Okay. Yeah, but I know physicians who make $200,000 a year and they're living paycheck to paycheck. They drive the nicest Teslas. They have a really nice car in the best neighborhoods. All their children go to a private school. They're spending every single thing they have. So, and they're worried about money. They're worried about money. So you're not alone, but we have to get this out of the way so that we won't have those excuses. All right, so good. I've got one, I've got twos. Great, awesome, both. Thank you so much. This gives me just some feedback and lets me know I'm not out here alone. All right, so let's keep moving forward. So where I am now, I live lean. This is important. Okay. This is not filler. This is important because I'm not living a lavish lifestyle, but my lifestyle is value based. Okay. So what I value is being healthy. And so I work out. I worked out today. I worked out yesterday. I work out most days of the week. I have the flexibility to do that now. I'm financially independent. I travel 1 to 2 times a month. Many of you have been seeing a lot of my travel posts lately. I coach others because I enjoy that. But most of all, I'm unbothered. Okay. I am unbothered. My children are at a point where they can get up and dress themselves in the morning and they know how to fix their cereal, their oatmeal, their French toast. Now, I do get up and cook for them most days, but every once in a while, if mommy just needs some time in the morning, just let me have my tea, just let me enjoy, I can do that. And I'm also not stressed about work. I was very stressed about work when I worked. So, why should you plan to retire early? And I'm going to give you just the number one reason is because a financial disruption or a disaster is looming. And I'm not trying to be gloomy about that. I'm being realistic about that. I talk to so many women who unexpectedly go through a divorce. I talk to so many men who unexpectedly become single dads because the wife passes away. I talk to people just in general who during COVID lost their income. And then in these situations, it's like, what do I do now without the finances, without that other income that I wanted so badly? Okay. So you should plan to retire early, even if it's not retiring, but whatever that is. So I'm going to go back because I see a question here from, oh, not this one. Decline in health also, yes. Someone asked me, do I think a recession is on the way? Yes, a recession is always on the way. We just don't know when. We do not know when. And so could anyone predict this war that Russia and Ukraine and all that we're seeing that just breaks our hearts? No, but here it is, and it's happening, and it's a disruption. So I just want you to be prepared. Okay. Now, some people say, oh, well, hold on, I'm going too fast on my slides here. I'm afraid I'll lose money. Yes, I understand. I was there and I was afraid of the same thing. But I'll tell you, in the short term, the stock market is always volatile. Everything's volatile. Your job during 2020, I'm pretty sure you were afraid you were going to lose your job. I know I was. Many of us were afraid of that. So that happens. But what do we do when we're fearful of something? We have to take action and say, if I'm afraid of something, it's usually because I'm not prepared for it or I don't know enough about it. So I want to talk to you about investing for your future so that you're prepared and learn. You need to learn all the ins and outs about it. Okay. So here's the real story. So this is a moment of truth because someone is already even kind of said it, decline in health. Here is my real story. All right. Last year in May of 2021, or not May of 2021, April or so, 2021, I was so stressed out. I was still homeschooling my children. They had been home for a year and I love my children, but whoo, those two boys. And actually we had 3 boys because Isaac's son was here. So our 3 boys were here in this house. Isaac and I were both teaching full loads of classes from this house. And it was a lot happening on the university front. And there was a lot of pressure from the university. And it was just so much going on. Most of us didn't know what was going on with COVID still. In 2020, I was one of those Americans that got stuck out of the country during COVID and the borders closed. And we were rescued from Peru from the United States Air Force and the Marines and brought back to the United States. So I just went through so much during COVID that by the time the end of the semester in May 2021, I just couldn't handle anything else. It was really tough for me, and my health declined in a very serious way. And I realized that I didn't have the support I needed through my job because they didn't care that my health was declining. I'm just being honest. They did not care because they consistently told me to do this and do that, and I missed a meeting and I was reprimanded for missing a breakfast meeting. I missed a breakfast meeting at work and I was reprimanded and had to have an emergency meeting with the dean. And I when I tell you that after that Zoom call, and I told her, I said, this conversation is completely inappropriate. The fact that you would even have this conversation with me when you know that my health is declining, I said, is inappropriate. And I was so bold. And I always tell men and women, be bold. And I was bold because in my mind, I knew I had this money. And I guess I knew that if I just walked away, I would have been fine. Because at that time I had $800,000. So it kind of gives you a certain kind of power when you know that you're financially independent and that you don't have to have that job. You kind of command needing the respect that you deserve because you deserve to be treated well. You deserve to be treated like a human being. We all have things that we're going through in life. The work will always be there. The job and everything that comes along with it is there, but it's such a small part of your life. And so I was really sick. I was really, really sick. And I just didn't feel like I had the support. And unfortunately, when I left that job, when I turned in my notice, they didn't even send out an email to tell the college that I was even leaving. And I cried my eyes out because I was a tenured professor for 10 years. I had taught thousands and thousands of students. And when I left, I didn't even get so much as a card goodbye. Nothing. And so that made me realize that I had to start thinking about me. So at that point, I was so glad that just 4 years prior, I had learned about fire and I knew what my fire number was. So thank you for those who have said things in the chat, because that really hurt me. It hurt me to my core because I had poured so much of my life's energy into that job. And not even a email to say she's leaving. That was really, really hurtful. All right. So I want you to start thinking about how much money you need to never work again. So if you don't have a pen and paper, this is where you want to have it. So this is how I calculated my fire number is by taking whatever my annual expenses are. And that should not be your salary. Okay. It's not your salary. When I say, what does it take for you to live on and live a comfortable life? Because your salary has all those deductions, it has taxes and all those things that can be very, very different once you actually retire. So, and the way you're taxed is completely different. Capital gains is taxed way less than wages. So I just don't even want you to factor that in. I want you to think about what is it that it takes for you to live on. And then you're going to take that number, you're going to multiply it by 25. So, for example, if your income, or not your income, I just said don't use income. If your living expenses are $40,000 a year, that's your housing, your transportation, your food, your leisurely activities, clothing, etc., and you multiply that by 25, you get $1 million. So your fire number would be $1 million. So I know some people were probably thinking, oh, I probably need 10 million. I need 12 million. And I thought that I needed 1.25 million. That's the number that I had in place. But as I mentioned to you, my microphone's flying. As I mentioned to you, when I fired, I had, so let's see, May 31st, 2021, I had $850,000 in my investment account. That was my fire nest egg. Not quite 1.25 million, right? But what I realized is that since I had learned to live by my values and not just by things, I didn't need to spend as much money, but I enjoyed life a lot more. And the fact that I had learned how to side hustle. So my book there, coaching, speaking as a professor, I can speak at conferences, I can review articles, I can read papers, I can take my God-given talents and use those to create income for myself. So with that and my nest egg, I knew that I would be okay with the 850,000, and I have been just fine. I have been just fine. Thank God. Right? So I want you to know that even though your number right now may be really high, you may not even need that much. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do it. Okay. So here is my system. So number one is this Google Sheets that I use. I call it my Budget Bestie. And you can download it free on my website. You can do that later. Don't do that now because I don't want you to miss anything here. So I use these two things in conjunction, and I literally use these two things. I was actually on my budget before we even got on this call today. A budget is a living document. It should be automated. It should have formulas in it, and it should be easy to use. You should look at your budget maybe once to twice a week. Okay. Sometimes I talk to people and they say, oh, my budget hasn't changed since last year. Yeah, it has. Your budget changes every month. Your electric bill is not exactly the same, right? Your water bill is not exactly the same. You may have had to, my son had a birthday party. That was an expense that I don't have every month. There are expenses that you're going to have this month that you're not going to have next month. Let's say your auto insurance is due this month. This is the 6-month premium. So there are different amounts that happen different times of the year, and you need to document those. And this Google Sheet allows me to look at the entire year on one sheet, which is again very valuable for me to forecast. I know I like to do shopping the day after Thanksgiving. So I need to put away money each month so that when the day after Thanksgiving arrives, I already have a lump sum of money for my shopping. I'm not putting it on credit cards. I'm not taking it away from something else that I need during that month. It's automated. I start at the top. I put in my gross income and any deductions, and then all of my expenses. That's what's in the orange part here. And in the green, that's all of my savings, investments for my children's future, brokerage accounts, other types of investments go there. Second, I use mint.com. Mint.com allows me to track every time I swipe my card. And you need both, or you need something similar. All right. So you need something that will automatically calculate your budget for the month and what you have left over to spend, and something that will track every time you swipe your card. Because if you're not tracking how you swipe your card, then guess what happens? Your card is just full of transactions, and you don't even know what you spent. You don't even know where the money is going. And so that's why I use these two things. And the only reason it's important to track any of this is because you want to one day be financially independent. And if you don't start tracking your money today, then how are you going to make sure you have enough money to invest? So I can't even talk to you about investing in the stock market if you don't even know how much money you can truly afford to invest, or where you can make cuts so that you can invest more to reach your FIRE number faster. Does that make sense? I know I'm saying a lot. But there's just so much to teach you. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if that is making sense so far. Okay. Okay, so we've got those two tools. And then next we have how you're going to figure out exactly how much you're spending, because you may say, well, okay, I can start moving forward with this budget, but in the past, how do I even know what I'm really spending everything on? Well, you're going to track it. So you can do this for 10 days. So you got your notebook here. You can just simply write, the date, what it was you purchased, and the amount. Okay. And was it a want or a need or a bill? So just start tracking that for the next You can just maybe do it for the next week so that you can see what am I really spending my money on, and that will also help you fill in that budget as well. Okay. And then I want you to start cutting costs of things that you don't value. Now, I know some people say, oh, I don't want to be on beans and rice. I want to live for today. Once you sit down and actually think about what you value in life, it will be easy to cut out the other things, but we're not taught to do it that way. Okay. So, for example, when I sat down after my divorce and I wrote down, how do I really want to live life? What's really important to me? I knew that working with girls and women was really important to me. So, I started a nonprofit. And then I also knew that I love to travel. I wanted to be outdoors. I like to go to zoos. I just started writing all the things that I valued. And so then when I looked at my budget, I realized, you know what? I have cable and I'm paying $1,000 a year for cable, but I only watch Lifetime. Maybe I should just get a Fire Stick and pay for the Lifetime channel. That actually makes a lot of sense. So then I got Prime and I got Netflix, and then I get my Prime shipping that cut out the Walmart trips because I noticed I was going to Walmart once a week and I couldn't leave Walmart without spending at least $100. I don't know why that was happening, but once I got Prime, it was easier for me to see the total of things before I just took my card up to the register. It's like, oh my gosh, I spent $150. I didn't intend to spend that much. So this spending tracker will help you, and the budget will help you look at everything for the year. And once you start looking at your expenses in terms of a year, so if I tell you, oh, you're spending $1,100 a year on cable, you might say, I'm spending $1,000 a year on cable. No. And obviously, cable is just low hanging fruit. But in the Wealthy Achiever, when I coach people, I have tons of ways to cut your expenses. And oh, actually, here's an example here. So Tanya is a consultant and she saves at least $200 a month just from week 1 of the program. And then David Weil is a lawyer and he was a high income earner, but he noticed again that he was spending so much money he didn't even know where it was going. He wasn't investing as much as he wanted to. So he just was so excited about the money that he was able to cut through the budget portion of the workshop of the program. So the next step, so it's 3 steps. The first step is Budget Bestie. Second step is marry your 401k. This is where most of my wealth is. I know many of you thought we were going to be talking about Amazon and Facebook and all these things, but to be honest with you, you're going to get the most bang for your buck in the stock market through your 401k at work. And unfortunately, there's no one teaching us about our 401k. When you sign up to work at a job, guess what they do? They say, here's your benefits package. Enjoy. Here's your 3% match. And you say, oh, okay, great. And then you have no idea what you can invest in, how much you can invest, how does it work? How do you sign up? How do I get the money out? All these how questions. And so that is something that I teach because again, 50% of my wealth, that 900,000 that I have, is in tax deferred accounts, a 401k and a 457b. If you're a professor or a physician, a teacher, a doctor, work for the government, you might also have a 457b, and maybe no one even told you about it because they didn't tell me. I had to learn about it in a book. And then I went to my employer, the same employer that I left, and I had to ask, do we have a 457b here? And they said, yeah, we do. I couldn't believe it. I worked there for 8 years or six or 7 years at that point, and that was a benefit I wasn't taking advantage of. So here is the power of investing in the stock market through your 401k. You're going to save money on taxes, and you're going to save more money for the long term in that investment account. Here's a quick example. So this contributor here, this employee in the middle column where it says no contributions, they're not contributing at all to their 401k. The one on the right is contributing. So they both had the same salary, 120K. That's a nice salary. And the pre-tax contribution is $0 for the first employee and 12,000. So that's 1,000 a month for the second employee. The first employee pays income taxes on the whole $120,000. But guess what? The other employee only pays income taxes on $108,000. Taxes. So who's paying more in taxes here? The person who's not contributing is paying more taxes. And even though you're probably saying, yeah, but they bring more money home. Not exactly. They're not. Because once you see here at the bottom row, the total pay is $96,000 for this person who's not contributing, but the total pay for the person who is contributing is the $12,000 plus their take-home pay is actually more money than not contributing at all. That's a game changer. So not only did you reduce your taxes this year, but you've invested $12,000. And guess what? You're looking at an average of 10% before inflation, about 7% after inflation a year in gains. So that $12,000 every year over the year is going to make money. So the gains are going to make money every year. That's how I accumulated $850,000 in 4 years because of the power of compound interest. Okay, compound interest. And this is how you do it. There's no secret formula. This is available to everyone. Let me explain to you. In 2021, I think the S&P 500 was a 25%, 24% returns. Where are you going to go get 24% returns of your money? In 2020, it was 18%. In 2019, 31% for the S&P 500. You can't miss out on that money, people. So even in your 401k, invest more. So I worked my way up to where I was investing from, I started with the match, as I told you, 5% match. And I started increasing that money that I was contributing into my 401k all the way up to 60% of my income. 60% of what I brought home went into the stock market. So here are some examples of some other accounts, which in the Wealthy Achiever program, which I am going to tell you about today, I break every single one of these down. Okay. Every single one of them down, how much you can contribute, what the differences are. So here's just one text that I got earlier this year about the program and how they were putting everything together. Net worth. Okay. This woman increased her net worth to $46,000, trying to get to $100,000, that before the course she was not able to do. She was not doing it because she just didn't know. Okay, so I think someone's asking a question. Let me just check here. Compound interest over time as long as your money is reinvested in the stocks, or even if it's not reinvested. Let's say you invest $10, right? Let's say you invest $10, or let's say $100. And you make 10% on that. Well, what is that? $110. But guess what? Next year, the whole $110 now is principal. And that whole amount that was your initial principal amount and then your gains, all of that now gets to take advantage of the new gains in the market. And it just keeps compounding that way. All right. So here's the third step. You're going to calculate for retirement and invest. All right. So here's how the stock market works. This is the best way that I can explain it. Think about a grocery cart at the grocery store and just throwing things into the cart, right? And let's just say those things that you're throwing into the cart are different stocks. So if you're an individual stock buyer, like, oh, I'm going to buy some Amazon. They have good things to say. It's supposed to stock split. Let me buy that. Oh, Facebook, the ad revenue is great. Let me buy Facebook. Ooh, Tesla. Yeah. And so we're just buying all these things and throwing them in the cart. And then you get to the register and you have all these different fees. You have all of these different all of these different stocks to keep up with, and some are going up and some are going down, and you're trying to track which one's a winner, which one's a loser. And it can get really confusing for the average investor. But I want you to also think about buying the stock market in terms of a pinata. So everyone here know what a pinata is, and it's full of candy. So all of the individual different types are in this one pinata. So think about stock investing in the total stock market or in the S&P 500 that way as a pinata. And then you still own Facebook, Tesla, Amazon inside of that pinata, but you only need about one pinata. That is what we do in the FIRE movement. Okay. The FIRE movement says just invest in a total stock market index fund or in a S&P 500 fund or ETF, and then you're well diversified. Okay. So here's just another quick little comment from Marquita. She cut her expenses down by $300 a month in the first week or first month. And then she started investing that $300. How would that make you feel if you were able to, in your budget you already have, find an extra $300 and then start investing that $300 a month? That's significant. That is how you FIRE in 10 years or less. Okay. So look at this. This is, if you're taking notes, you definitely want to take notes on this slide. I call it don't guess, invest in index. I could not have even planned this any better. CNBC wrote this article yesterday and published it that odds are you're better off buying an index fund. And they give lots of reasons why. But the main one is that cherry picking stocks is not as efficient and is not as profitable as index funds. Even Warren Buffett will tell you that's what he recommends his heirs do. Okay. All right. So here is another comment about this, especially when it comes down to knowing how much you need to be secure and then investing in dividends and capital gains assets. So Jamie says, I learned exactly what my FIRE number is and how long it will hopefully take me to reach that number. Because knowing the number is one thing, but then you have to be able to calculate how much do I need to invest each month, considering gains, to reach that in 10 years or reach that in 5 years. Okay. Because you need to know. Well, first of all, you know that if you increase your investing rate, so as I did to 60% of my income, I'm going to retire much faster than if I'd have kept just only investing 10%. When you invest at 10%, you pretty much are guaranteed you will and can work until you're 65. But what if something happens like what happened to me? You may not want to wait until 65. God forbid anything happens. We wouldn't want that to happen, but I don't want anybody to go through what I went through. Okay. So we want you to be prepared. So this just explains a little bit more about the returns. All right. Retire early secret. Pick your investing rate. So if you're doing 10% now, that's likely not enough if you want to retire before 65. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up if you're still with me. I know I'm throwing a lot out here, and I'll answer some of the questions here. What are your thoughts on target funds? Target funds are not a bad option because they're going to go ahead and pick your allocation. So in the Wealthy Achiever program, I help you, I teach you, okay, what your allocation could be based on your risk tolerance. A target fund basically says, I want to retire in the year 2040, and that's what I want to do. And so it will automatically adjust your stocks to bonds ratio. So stocks is this S&P 500, and whatever your bond ratio is, it'll adjust it a little bit more each year. So as you get closer to retirement, it's not so heavy in equities, and it's more heavy in cash and bonds. Okay. Awesome. Okay, good. So Dominique says, I love the weekly live group coaching. Learn so much from the questions. It's basically like this, except we're over Zoom and we meet once a week. And I can answer your questions individually. I can look at your plan. I can look at your budget. I can look at what they have at your workplace and help you decide, what's the best solution for you. I won't make the decision for you. I'm not going to recommend. I'm not a financial advisor. I am an educator. I have a Six Sigma Black Belt. I have a PhD in analytics, and I retired early. So I know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to help you be financially independent on your own. Okay. But I'm here to help and support you. So she says, I recommend this for women and men who are serious about taking control of their money. All right. So that is basically a good portion of what the process is. Obviously, you can go more in depth, and you need that. You need to know exactly how to do it, exactly how to open a fund, and how much of an emergency fund you need to have. Ormond says, what advice do you have for self-employed entrepreneurs? Exactly. You have your own types of investment accounts that are tax deferred that you can write off. There's one is a solo 401k. So if you don't have employees, that's the perfect one for you to choose. It works just like the others that I spoke about. Okay. All right. So if you okay, you're welcome. You're more than welcome. Because I know there's so much content. There's so much to learn. There's so much to know. And we just haven't been taught the whole process. You will find umpteen, I don't know, is that a word? Umpteen gurus online who can teach you about the stock market. But are they going to teach you how to budget? Are they going to teach you what your fire number is? Are they going to teach you how to back up into how much you need to invest each month? Are they going to teach you how to do it in a diversified way? Those are important. Are they going to teach you how much emergency fund you should have for your specific situation, right? So if you are tired of making more money but not getting ahead, right? I hear this all the time. I'm making more money, but I'm not getting ahead. I just don't understand. Many of the parents are concerned that they're not saving up for their children's financial future, and they're just getting tired of the rat race. Maybe you want to cut your costs by $300 a month. Maybe you want to double or triple your savings each month, which women in my program, men in my program, hands down, are doubling and tripling their savings rate. And when I say savings, I mean investing. Okay. Savings rate. So how much of your income? So if you 100% income, if you're only putting 10% in, then that's going to get you to 65. And that's okay. But if you want to get there faster, then you might need to double or triple that to 20, 30, 40% or more. If you want to be financially free in 10 years or less, then you're going to have to up that percentage, period. All right. But that's how you do it. So you may be here because you maybe health wise, maybe you're taking care of children, you're taking care of a parent. Maybe you just want to work less. Maybe you need a sabbatical. Maybe you need, just not to worry so much about money. Maybe that's why you're here. I want to tell you about the Wealthy Achiever program. Okay. I want to tell you that, first of all, I want to do this to help others, and I enjoy teaching. I think that is something that is important for me to do, but I also want you to know that that is my motive, to help you, and it is my time and I'm doing it, but it's important that I spread this knowledge and help others. So I want to tell you what's included in it. If you could just stick with me for a few more minutes, and I'm going to take more of your questions. So keep dropping those in the comments because I see several questions I'm going to answer. So what is included? First of all, it's going to be 12 months of unlimited access to the program. Of course, you're going to have videos that you're going to watch each week. We meet once a week, but before we meet, I want you to watch my video where I'm going to teach you step by step. I'm going to hold your hand. I've got worksheets, and I'm going to teach you that, and then we're going to meet. We're going to meet over Zoom because I want to see your faces. Okay. I want to see your faces. I want to talk with you. I want to get to know you. I want to know your situation. And so I can help you navigate through your plan. Obviously, there's tons of coaching call replays because every time we have a coaching call, it goes into the vault and you can always go back and watch replays from before you even got into the program. I have created my own fire calculator that is automated, already has the formulas, everything you need to know to help you on your fire path. Plug it in. That's my proprietary intellectual property, and that is also included. And I created my own textbook, and I call it a textbook because it's a textbook. It's not a workbook. It's long, but it's everything you need to know. And so since you have 12 months, you can take your time to get through it, and you'll always have that workbook. You can always have that. All right, so this is for you. This is really something you should consider if you want to stop deciding every time you have to buy something. Maybe this one's $10 difference than this one, and you're sitting here thinking, should I pay for this one or should I do the extra 10? Or you're just worried if you're going to have enough. You're constantly thinking about it. I want you to get past the worry. I want you to have a really clear plan of how much you're investing each month, how much you're saving, what your expenses are, and how much fun money you have to travel and do the things you enjoy. And of course, this is for you if you want to leave something for your children. All right, this is not for you for a few reasons. I probably should have done this one first. Number one, if you are looking for day trading, options, crypto, Forex, this is not it. This is not that class. Again, this is a holistic financial plan. This is not only everything you want to know about day trading, stocks, options. It's not that. Okay. If you expect me to buy and sell stocks for you or tell you exactly, this is exactly what you should do, I will never do that. I will always say, this is what I've done. Here are your options. Let me teach you all the pros and cons of each option, and then you can make your own decision. If you have out of control credit card debt, I do not recommend that you get into this course. If you do not have consistent income or you're really having a tough time financially, I don't want you to pay for this. I want you to continue to come to my live classes. I want you to binge watch my YouTube channel because I want you to just get up on your feet. And I definitely want you to go download the budget template that's free so that you can start getting better control. All right. So I think I somewhat went through this already of what the curriculum is, but I just want you to say that inside your membership area in the Wealthy Achiever is really easy to navigate. So you can see this is week 1. Find 200 plus in my monthly budget. You got your Zoom link, your workbook, your task, your the workshop video recording for that week, lecture notes. I've already taken the lecture notes for you, and the group coaching call replays are there. So that's just the first week example, but it's really, really easy to navigate. That's me of how I'm walking you through and I'm teaching you. And I heard some of you say in here that I'm an excellent teacher. I really appreciate you saying that. And, asking me about mentoring. And that's what I do in the program. I do mentor. Definitely. We have a GroupMe app that everybody has on their phone. And so I'm constantly in the GroupMe asking questions, working with different people on different things. And so all of that happens through the Wealthy Achiever program. I'm not able to do one-on-one coaching anymore. Last year, I was doing just one-on-one, and for my own mental health and my own ability to be have more freedom, I can't commit to those one-on-ones outside of the program anymore. But this is inside your program just to show you just how easy it is to see everything. So obviously you're going to get an accountability group of like-minded people. Everyone is here, is engaged, they're asking questions, and that's what we want. That's what we have. And we have, of course, the weekly coaching calls. So I just really want you to ask yourself, if you're not going to go ahead and take the steps to do it now, when are you going to do it? If you've been worried about money, want to leave something for your kids, don't want to work forever, just tired of making more money, but actually not getting ahead, or wondering where all your money goes, then this is for you. And I really want you to enroll in the program if you are a good fit, because if not now, when? Okay. If not now, when? So this is another comment that just came in last month about, for the first time since the day I took out my first student loan, I have a positive net worth. I never really looked at net worth until I finished your bundle of classes, but I have been watching it ever since. I'm ecstatic at hitting this achievement. My next goal is hitting that max contribution limit for 2021. That is, it blows my mind, but I've been there myself, and I know what that felt like to reach my first $100,000 net worth. And then after that, it just, the interest, it just grew so fast. So with the Wealthy Achiever program, it's a 4-week program, but again, you have unlimited access for 12 months. And this also comes with some bonuses, because who doesn't like bonuses? I am going to teach you exactly how to publish your book this year. So as you see, I have a book, The Unlikely Achiever, and it is money on autopilot. If you need an autopilot machine, get a book. Write your book. Your story is worthy. You are worthy to be wealthy. Okay, you're worthy of that. So I've already recorded this workshop, exactly how to do it, all the resources that I use, my illustrator, my cover artist, all of that is included. Okay. The second bonus, how the stock market makes millionaires. So just a little mini course there. Someone's asking me here, how often do you teach the class? About every other month so far this year. I may not do it in the summer just to take the summer off, but it's been about every other month. The next course will be May 1st. Okay, and if you join today, then you're also going to get my analytics course, because I'm a numbers person. And if you have been wanting to learn about analytics, what's the big deal, then this comes with the program. All right, an analytics course. So join today, and you'll get 12 months of access, 30 plus lessons, breaking down everything from your budget, debt payoff, investing while paying off debt, your 401k, your 457. If you're a federal employee, we're going to talk about the TSP. If you're an entrepreneur, we're going to talk about the retirement options for you. We're also going to teach you exactly how to tap those tax deferred accounts before 65, because there are 2 legal ways to do it. The next person who tells you can't touch your 401k until you're 59 and a half, walk away, because they don't know what they're talking about. There are 2 legal ways to do it. That's just what we've all been taught. Okay. We've all been taught that's the rule and that's it. There are 2 ways to do it without paying a penalty that are completely legal. All right. And for live sessions and all the bonuses. So I'll tell you, I don't discount my programs because I know what they're worth. I have people, tons of testimonials, who are retiring in the next 5, 8, up to 10 years because they've started doing this and they have a plan. And the price is actually going up of my program. But right now, only through Thursday, the price is $1,547 for the 4-week program that starts May 1st. There is a payment plan of 2 payments, because I feel like if you can't afford to pay it in 2 payments, then you're not there yet. Okay. But I know what it's worth. I know what you're going to get out of it. And I know I'm seeing people's lives change financially every single day. I can check my phone right now and go in the group meet and hear what the women are talking about. Okay. Now, some of you may be saying, that's probably a little bit out of my budget. There is also an option that's a self-paced option where you won't get the group coaching or the bonuses, but you're going to get all of that meaty content all the way from Budget Bestie, Marry Your 401k, and exactly how to trade stocks, which stocks I trade, how to open a investment account, everything you need to do to open one, and how to start making trades. Exactly. Because you have to know how to make the trade, right? And so I teach you all of that in both options. So if you're more interested in just doing it on your own, taking your time, you don't need the group coaching, then you can do the self-paced option. Okay. And here is another quick takeaway, and then I'm going to take the questions from the chat here. My biggest financial takeaway I learned from the workshop is it is doable to retire early and FIRE. Listen to this. This is Jarlisha. My savings and investing rate jumped from 8% at the beginning of the course to 18% at the end of 4 weeks. Dr. Keisha's workshop was a reality call I needed. I didn't pay her to say this. I didn't ask her to say this. 8% to 18% in 4 weeks. That's why I say I know what this can do for you. I know what it's done for me. I know what it's doing for men and women, and I know what it can do for you. So obviously there's some other things in here that she says. The importance of budgeting, to be intentional with spending, to understanding the complexities, IRAs, Roths, brokerages. The workbook spreadsheets help keep track of debt decreasing and income increasing. Overall support of Dr. Keisha, all of that encouragement to stay on this journey. I mean, I could not have said it better myself. I mean, it almost brings tears to my eyes because I know that it's helping so many people. So you can go to theachieveher.com, and I'll put this in the chat. And then I'm going to take the questions that you have because I want to answer those. Theachieveher.com. 48 hours. That is it. That is it. Because I have such a limited, and as you know, this broadcast is for those who are RSVP'd and who are on my list. And so I take only a small group. So it will hit the max, okay, of number of people. And I only do it every other month. So if you want to do the self-paced option, obviously you're fine. You can start there. Even if you get into the 4-week program, you can start with the material today. We just won't have our first meeting until May, that first week of May. So let me get into the questions here. All right. The best part. Okay. What do you think the best ideas are for promoting a side hustle? They can be pretty difficult to get support behind. Yes, well, it really depends on what your side hustle is. But when you have a side hustle, you have to believe in it 100% and don't shrink it. Don't be afraid to say it. I know when I was working, I was afraid to promote my book. So I had very little sales because I wouldn't tell people about it. And that was not good thinking because that job does not own me. But I thought that I would somehow be reprimanded for talking about my book to others. And that I just didn't think that was, looking back on it, that wasn't wise. If it's my gift, it's my book, I should be able to talk about it freely. And so I would say it really depends on your side hustle, but don't be afraid to shout it from the rooftops. Okay. All right. Somebody has hit lean fire. You go, girl. Yes. Hit lean fire. And there are different types of fire. Okay. I haven't got up the nerve to resign yet. I was there until something, pushed me over and I was like, okay, I'm out of here. And even since then, it's been hard, not working because I've worked since I was 14 years old. but just keep working it. If you haven't got up the nerves and you're not quite ready, then keep doing it. That's what I would say, L. Just keep keep investing in it. All right. How often do you teach the class? We have our group coaching every other month, and they are on Thursdays at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. What's today? Today's Tuesday, so it wouldn't be Tuesday. It would be Thursdays at 6 p.m. Okay. Zooms are Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central. Oh, Shayla. I think, yeah, Shayla's in the course, so she knows. Okay. And of course, theachieveher.com. I am so thankful that each of you were here for me, and you deserve to be wealthy. You deserve it. And I want everyone here to believe that. I want you to believe that this can be for you. You just need someone to walk you through it and teach you how to do it. So I want you to sign up. You've got 48 hours. If you have questions about it, put them in the chat. I want to hear, what questions do you have about the program? If you're on the fence at all, let's talk about it, because the more time you wait, that's less time you could be getting closer to your financial freedom. So I want to hear it. I'll take another couple of minutes, because there are many of you still here listening, and I want to give you everything that you need to make a good decision. Let's hear it in the chat. In the chat, because I want to welcome you into the program. You can get started tonight. And obviously, if you have a spouse, the spouse should go through the program with you. Okay. But I definitely want you to do this for yourself. I don't want you on the fence thinking about it. You've heard the testimonials. If you've been looking for a sign, you've been following me for a while, you know that this is, it's not a hoax. It's not a gimmick. Let's do it. Okay. Maybe you discussed this in your bonus. How do you not worry about what people would say when you promoted your book? Well, I'll tell you, it took some guts, but I had to believe that God, when I wrote the book, that God really wanted me to share it with people. And that job is not, it's not my life. They don't own me. And I keep saying that because I was once told by my supervisor that that company owned all of my working hours. So if you have time to be doing things outside of work, then we're going to think that maybe you don't have enough work to do here. I was told that. And I walked out of that office that day and I said, they think they own me. Basically, you don't own me. If I work in the evenings, I work on weekends, that's my prerogative. And I should be able to, again, this is why you just want to be prepared for whatever may happen. You may love your boss now. You may love whoever you report to now. But what happens when they leave? Because that's what happened to me. I reported to the same dean for years, since the day I had started working there. And then within 1 year, when he retired, a new person came in. It was like I had to prove myself all over again. All right, I'm interested in the program, finishing the certification. You go. Looking forward to the fall. Awesome. Love it. All right. Well, if there are no other questions, I'm going to let you go ahead and get signed up at theachieveher.com. And I look forward to welcoming you into the course real soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.